Welcome back to Strawberry Inc. Today's episode takes us to Polk County, Florida. On October 4th, 2022, when a wanted woman, a BB gun, and a split-second decision led to the tragic death of a young deputy, 21-year-old Blane. This case spiraled into a heavily publicized criminal prosecution, a widely viewed September 2025 trial, and ultimately a harsh fate. Let's break down the events and the proceedings moving forward, where everything stands as of today. By fall of 2022, 49-year-old Cheryl Williams was in deep legal trouble. She was wanted for failing to appear in court for a drugs case that was unrelated to this shooting. But before that, she had violated her probation as she had been found with meth. She ended up bonding out of jail for that and was then picked up on 2 new traffic tickets. When she skipped that next court hearing, the Polk County Sheriff's Office resumed a search for her. An anonymous email finally tipped deputies off. Cheryl was staying in a mobile home in Polk City. On October 4th, deputies moved into this Florida home. According to these deputies, Cheryl emerged from a closet holding what looked like a real gun. She pointed it directly at them. It was not a firearm, it was a BB gun. Deputy Michael Brooks later said it looked indistinguishable from a real handgun in the moment. Shots were fired, and within seconds, Deputy Blane, only 21 years old, went down. A bullet entered his left arm, traveled into his chest, and critically injured him. He was rushed to the Lakeland Regional Health Medical Center, where he died later that evening. Cheryl was not injured. She was handcuffed at the scene and taken straight to the Polk County Jail. All deputies involved were cleared of any wrongdoing, and law enforcement publicly placed the responsibility for Lane's death on Cheryl. Cheryl was booked on a list of felonies, a long list. Second-degree murder for the death of Deputy Lane, second-degree assault, 2 second-degree weapons offenses, third-degree resisting, third-degree meth possession, and later, an extra misdemeanor in the first degree of drug paraphernalia. She still has that separate meth case pending. On October 5th, 2022, Cheryl appeared virtually before Judge Jennifer Swenson at the Polk County Circuit Court. She was denied bond for the murder and assault charges, but for the remaining offenses, she got a total of $17,000 bond. However, due to the no bond charges, she would remain in jail to await trial. The next day, her public defender, Blair Allen, submitted not guilty pleas to Judge Michelle Pinkett. Prosecutor Michael Nutter confirmed a full list of charges moving forward. Shortly after, Cheryl was transferred to a private, state-funded attorney used for severe cases, Robin Stevenson. Deputy Lane's services were handled by the Gentry Morrison Funeral Home of Lakeland. His memorial service was held at the Victory Church on October 11th, 2022. He was remembered as a young deputy with promise, commitment, and a life cut tragically short. 3 years later, in September 2025, Cheryl Williams, a suspect, finally stood trial. A jury of 12 members and 3 alternates heard gruesome evidence. On September 11th that month, they returned with their verdict, guilty on all 7 counts. Cheryl's legal team began preparing for an appeal, which remains pending. Sentencing took place on the 25th day of that month, One day after the prosecution withdrew a firearms charge, Cheryl received multiple concurrent sentences, 5 life sentences in prison without parole, an extra 5 years in prison for meth possession, 74 years, 2 months, and 2 days for an additional meth offense. Today, Cheryl Williams is incarcerated at the Homestead Correctional Institution in Florida City. A young deputy lost his life. A woman with a long trail of unresolved cases now faces decades behind bars. She will likely spend the rest of her life in prison. The debate over accountability in this case remains emotionally charged. Was this a tragic chain reaction, a preventable confrontation, or a lawful verdict based on the letter of the Florida statutes? For now, the legal side is settled and the appeal is on the horizon. Thank you for listening to Strawberry Ink. I'll see you in the next episode. Have a good rest of your day, and may this deputy rest in peace. Before I call this an episode, I would like to mention that I do not agree with this criminal prosecution. Yes, most likely the death of Deputy Lane was this woman's fault. But Cheryl was not the one directly shooting the deputy. Therefore, she does not deserve to be locked up for the rest of her life.